Exam 1, Project 6. In cell C3, so I'll click into C3. Create a formula to compute the amount of income forecast for 2021 by multiplying the 2020 income by the growth forecast in F1. Autofill the result to the other rows. Do not use a named range. So we want the formula. So the formula says the amount of income for 2020. So this is equal to the income for 2020 multiplied by the growth assumption in F1. So I click on F1 and press enter. Now that's correct, but if I autofill that to the other rows, I would get the incorrect value. Watch what happens. So I get zeros. And the reason I get zeros is because the reference to cell F1 must be an absolute value. So I go back into that first formula, click on the F1 in the formula bar and press F4 on the keyboard, and you can see that $1 has been placed in front of the row and column. That will make the reference to the cell F1 an absolute value. Press enter. Now when I replicate or autofill that formula again, whoops-a-daisy, I now get the correct answer. So that's the use of absolute value. That will come up in your exam for absolute sure. So make sure that you understand it. Now that dollar in front of the F and dollar in front of the 1 is not actually completely necessary, but you won't lose any marks in the exam if you use both, because if I only put the dollar in front of the 1, then it wouldn't make any difference. Watch what happens. So I take the dollar away from the F because I'm not going across columns, I'm going down rows. I have to make sure that I have the reference to the row exactly the same. So when I replicate, you should see we get the same answer. And we do. Yeah, that last one shouldn't have been included, but you can see we get the same answer. So while it's not absolutely required that you understand that you may not need to have the dollar in front of both, you do need to understand absolute values. It's a very important part of this particular curriculum. Task number 2, convert the cell range A2 to C23 to a table. So A2 to C23 to a table named customers. So insert. And again, this will come up. Creating a table always comes up. It has headers. And I want to name it. So I'm going to table tools and I'm going to name it as customers. Press enter. Now, let's change that momentarily. Customers. Okay. Task number 3. So I've got select customers table first. So I select it and I want to apply green table style light 14. So on table tools, here's all the styles. So I click on the pull down, green table style light 14. So it's a light style, it's green, so it's probably around here. Green table style light 14. Yep, and there we go. The fastest you can recognize where they are, the fastest it's going to happen for you in the exam. Question number 4, insert a line chart that shows the customers on the x-axis and their contribution to the 2020 income on the y-axis. So we want customers and we want the 2020 income. So in this case, the data is contiguous. So I can select the data like that and I want to insert a line chart. So here are the line charts. So I'll click on line chart and there is the information. So we have all the customers and we have their contribution to the income. Okay. Now, task number 5, include the data for the forecast sales increase in 2021 also. Again, this is very common in the exam. And once you have the chart selected, you can now select the data. So I hit select data and I can change the data that's been used to generate the chart. So I want to modify this data range so that I'm using C23 rather than B23 because that will include the forecast sales increase for 2021. Press OK and you can see now I have 2 line charts in there. Okay. And that is exam 1 project 6 complete. Now, you can see the speed which I can do these things because I create the questions, and I'm also extremely familiar with the type of questions that are asked in the exam. You should aim to try and get to the speed that I'm kind of going at. Now, I'm explaining to you how I'm getting the answers, but it should be second nature to you. If somebody says to you, create a table, you shouldn't have to think about it. You should go straight into it. If somebody says, create a cluster column chart, you shouldn't have to think about it. If somebody says to create a chart where the data is not contiguous, as it was in the last question, you should know to use the control key to select the data. So you need to practice to get to that level. So in this first exam, you may have found out taking you quite a bit longer than you expected to do. But by the time you get to exam number 3, you should find a significant improvement in time. And I think you probably will. So we'll see you in exam 2.